Yeah, I just want to respond to each of your questions real quick here. I'll go down the line. So the first question, will I need to update the webhook? Yes. I mean, if you haven't already, you would need to add those fields or those parameters onto the end that I mentioned in the email or in the video. I'll paste them here. Actually, I'll just grab them right now. Okay. This is what you would want to do if you want to turn email on in Mindbody. I'll show you what that looks like and how you would go about that. So jump out of this one. So let's say you have a workflow like contact created or contact changed, whichever one you would want to use to update that information. So for contact created, you can come in here, do this, and just jump to the end. And I've already done it here, but you can see where I added these parameters with true on each one right after the custom value for site ID. So just append that piece that I put in the response. And then this, whatever workflow you change. So in my case, it's contact created. You could go to your contacts. This is just a snapshot. So I don't have a lot of contacts. You would check the box for all the contacts you want to change, and then you would click add the campaign workflow. And I don't have it turned on, but if I did, I would select it. We'll pretend it's this one, type my note or whatever, and then click add to campaign workflow, and it would send all those contacts through that workflow, which would update the contacts and add that flag. So that's how you would go about doing that. Let me get back into the automation. I think that answers that first question of what you would need to do to take advantage of this fix. You see that there is some manual action. You'd need to edit your workflow, and then you would need to apply that workflow to all your contacts that need to be changed. So you ask this, if a contact is added in MVO and they're toggled on or off in SMS or email, will it update? I believe so. We're seeing what the API will allow and what will trigger, but that's our intent. I'll let you know by Monday. For this one, you said a customer is toggled on or off for SMS. Oh, I think I just answered that. I think those are both, they would work the same way. They were added or updated in Mindbody. Will it update in GHL? When I first read, I thought one of them was asking about if that change is made in Mindbody, and the other was asking about if that change was made in a high level, and that may have been your intent. So here's what you would need to do if someone changes their status to DND and high level, or they click unsubscribe. I just built the workflow for that, and this is what it would look like. Go back in here. So you can recreate this pretty easily. There's only a couple steps. So your triggers would be either email events, the event being unsubscribed, that's one trigger, or the other trigger would be just DND changed or contact changed, but with the filter DND has changed. And then I haven't actually finished this yet. But if the trigger is D&D changed, then you take one more step to see if the D&D enabled channels does not include email. That means they set D&D or set email, so they do not want to be contacted. If that's the case, you would apply that same webhook, but this time everything is set to false. And it's kind of all or nothing because high level doesn't have these three separate email types. So if someone says they don't want to be emailed, probably the best practice would be to turn all of these to false. That's really up to you. We give you the control. So that's what you do. And I forgot, if the trigger is not D&D change, that means they clicked unsubscribe in the email. Then you would just want to apply the same webhook. I'm just going to do that real quick. Hopefully this makes sense. If you copy what I just did by watching the video and create a similar workflow, it should work. It basically has the effect if they click unsubscribe or they set D&D to turn off email, it'll send the webhook, which will set all those flags in Mindbody to not send email. If that turns back on, you should already be able to handle that by the other workflow, which in this case, if it was contact, you know what, you probably would want a special case there. So let's just create it real quick, because that would be triggered by contact changed, and by default, with just a contact change, you probably don't want to turn that flag back on, or it'd be toggling it back on all the time. So let's just create a use case here, special case. All right, so now we'll say contact changed. The D&D has changed. And you can say if oh no, so if the D&D enabled channels includes, or no, you want to say does not include email. Yeah, so this would be saying if email is not set to D&D, I may have had the logic wrong before, but you can correct it. So if email is not set to D&D, then it's true. Then they want email, or at least it did not change. I'm just making these up on the fly, so feel free to go through it more carefully and see. I don't have it. I need to copy paste. You can fast forward or stop this if you want. I'm going to go grab that real quick. Change. All right, I'm going to double check my logic here. So if the D&D triggers changed, if email is, so I did have this backwards. So it should be if D&D enabled channels includes email. So that would mean they checked that they do not want email. then it would go down this channel and send the webhook. So that corrected that, and I will grab this URL. I'll go back to the new workflow. It's all these to true now. So you probably have detected that this isn't explicitly triggered by the email changing from DND to it's okay to email. It's just triggered by the DND changing at all. But as long as DND, if say they turned on or off SMS, it would trigger this. But as long as email is not checked for DND, then we'd still send this. So it may be sent unnecessarily, but it doesn't really matter. It wouldn't hurt anything. Just putting this back in the right place. All right. This went longer than I intended. I'm sorry, but I think that should answer your question. Let me just go review. So how the fix actually function, all we are doing is changing the webhook to enable you to pass parameters to turn on or off email fields, the different email settings in Mindbody. It's really up to you on how you want to use that. Um, I just gave you some examples of how you could do it. As far as pushing it from high level to Mindbody goes, anything from Mindbody to high level, we are going to try to make automatic, but I'll let you know later.